Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that I haven't actually specifically touched on this channel, believe it or not. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the myth that Anton LaVey created Satanism. I often see this parroted by people who usually just uneducated, those who don't know better, but there are actually people who parrot this claim in malice, trying to make Theistic Satanism come off as a less valid faith than it actually is, making it seem like we somehow copied LaVeyan Satanists, or that LaVeyan Satanists were the first kind of Satanists, which I will be disproving in this video. With this video, I want to prove three main things. Number one, Anton LaVey did not create the term Satanism. Number two, Anton LaVey was not the first person to call himself a Satanist. And number three, there were Satanists before the founding of the Church of Satan. The reason I want to touch on these specifically is because these are the things that the people who use these arguments try to most often refute. I get told all the time that Satanism is an oxymoron and that Anton LaVey created Satanism and that I'm actually a devil worshipper and not a Satanist. Whenever I try to actually refute or argue against any of these claims, it seems to go in one ear and out the other. So with this video, I kind of want to just have a nail in the head kind of thing. So when these people pop up in my comments or in Discord or wherever else, I can just send this video and say, there's the evidence, go fuck yourself. If you like what I do here, drop me a like, drop me a sub, all that good shit. If you want to support the channel, go down to the description and get yourself a channel membership. But with all that out of the way, let's get into it. So for the first one, I thought I'd pick out the easiest and probably the most often argument these people try to use, which is Anton LaVey created the term Satanism. This can be easily disproven by a quick Google search, as can most of these arguments. That's way too much effort for people who go around spouting stuff like this, so we shouldn't really assume that they would do any Googling. The term Satanist has been used since approximately 1517, when it came over from the French language into the English language. From the start of the usage up until around when the Church of Satan was actually founded, it always had the meaning of somebody who worshipped Satan. It was used as a slur to people, like to say that they are somehow in league with the devil or something like that. The definition of Satanist only actually changed after the Church of Satan's founding. So prior to the Church of Satan's founding, it meant somebody who worshipped Satan. That's all it meant. It had no political, no philosophical connotations. That's all the term Satanism meant. Now, once you point this out, they usually move on to the next argument, which is most often there is no evidence of people worshipping Satan prior to the Church of Satan's founding. Once again, this can be easily disproven by a quick Google search. There are a few sources I could use to disprove this, but I think the most appropriate is The Synagogue of Satan by Stanislaw, however you pronounce this. I struggled with the other name. You can't chuck this shit at me. But Stanislaw is widely regarded to be the first person to actually refer to himself as a Satanist. Written in 1892, this book actually documents the history and practices of Satanism prior to COS's founding, even talking about things like black masses, Sabbaths, the actual history of the religion. Bear in mind, Anton LaVey was born in 1930, so this book was written 30 years before he was even born and 60 years before the Church of Satan was even founded. Personally, I think this is more than enough to disprove the argument that Anton LaVey somehow created Satanism, or the term Satanist, but I'll actually go a step further for you guys. A Danish citizen called Carl Williams actually answered on the Danish national consensus that he was a Luciferian. I couldn't find an exact time frame for when this happened. Carl Williams actually died in 1936, so unless he was robbing ideas off Anton LaVey while he was fresh out of the womb, because Anton LaVey was 6 years old at the time, I think, once again, this kind of blows that out of the water. Very clearly, if it's legally recognised, there was somebody before Anton LaVey calling himself a Satanist. Carl Williams actually went on to influence the modern Luciferian church, believe it or not, so that's another nice bit of trivia for you guys. So after all of this, my question to those who will still probably parrot this claim, I know there's going to be a few of you down in the comments, how exactly did Anton LaVey create Satanism? And I want some real constructive comments. I don't just want the regular Theistic Satanism as an oxymoron or you're a devil worshipper. I actually want some constructive answers to the arguments I've put forth in this video. And if you can't give any, well, that only proves how weak your beliefs actually are. I'll admit that Anton LaVey popularized the practice or brought it into the mainstream, because that is impossible to refute. He quite obviously did that. He is I would say, the most popular Satanist of the time. We can argue semantics all day, but he did not create Satanism by any stretch of the imagination. He might have popularized it, he might have codified it, he might have made it more acceptable in the mainstream, but he did not create Satanism, and that is just something that everyone is going to have to accept. The history of our religion is already shrouded in enough bullshit already. The last thing this community needs is some more self-proclaimed Satanists further muddying the water and making it harder for people to actually figure out the history behind our beliefs and where our religion actually comes from. As I said in the first portion of this video, I'm fully aware that most people who parrot this aren't actually doing it out of malice. They're doing it just because they're uneducated and they don't know any better. There are still those who do actually know this fact and still say this because it fits their narrative, more or less. They want to feel better about their own beliefs, so they try to put ours down, because that's the way the human mind works, unfortunately. Sadly, for some people, it's more convenient to live a lie than it actually is to confront the truth. But if you like what I do here, drop a like, drop a sub, all that good shit. If you like my content, go down to the description and grab yourself a Patreon membership. If you see any of these people down in the comments, make sure to go show them some love, drive up the algorithm for me, maybe kick off some arguments. I know what you guys are, you love doing that shit. See you all in the next one, and hail Satan.